Maximo Cyst webinar. Just a couple of housekeeping items first. Everyone in the audience is muted. We'll have a brief question and answer session at the end of the webinar, and at that time I will ask you to use the raise your hand feature on your webinar panel, and I will call your name and open up your line. Alternatively, you can use the question feature on your webinar panel to text in your questions, and we will either answer in writing for all the audience to see during the webinar, or we'll follow up with you after the webinar. So this is going to be a really fast-paced webinar focusing on one of the latest features that we've added to our Rules Manager Studio suite. As a means of setting the stage, I'm going to do a brief introduction to TRM and Rules Manager Studio and then turn over to Jordan Ortiz, one of our lead Rules Manager developers and the inventor of Maximo Cyst. For those of you who are unfamiliar with TRM, we're an IBM Maximo Gold partner focusing 100% on IBM Maximo for over 20 years. Our offerings come in three major groupings: Maximo Services, our software to improve the performance of Maximo, which includes both TRM Rules Manager Studio and Lockout Tagout Manager. And we're a full-service cloud provider in all its potential flavors, and this includes bundling with TRM Rules Manager. Our software, TRM Rules Manager Studio, is a suite of capabilities designed to improve the value and performance of Maximo over its entire life cycle, from initial deployment, all your configurations, to your upgrades. It is the only unified solution on the market that provides all of these features to configure, control, extend, monitor, and manage IBM Maximo. So Maximo Cyst is just one of these features for the functional side of Maximo, the module that will allow you to get your users up and running in the fastest way possible. So Maximo Assist was just released in the latest version, which I do believe was just released this week. And with that, I'll turn over to Jordan.
Thanks, Liz.
Jordan, while I make you presenter.
Sure.
And I just muted you. Okay, you should have control now.
Okay, let me show my screen here. And hopefully you see the Maximo work order tracking screen. Is that right, Liz?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, everybody, for attending. I really appreciate it. My name is Jordan Ortiz, as Liz mentioned. I'm a software developer here at TRM. And yeah, I had my hands really dug into this Maximo Cyst product. And I really think it's going to make a lot of end users happy. Let me show you a circumstance that I'm sure you've heard complaints about from your end users and in your environments. You're in this case, you're in the work order tracking application, and you press insert and you have this gigantic screen full of data, and your end users want to get their data in, get it in properly, and then get out of the system. But the problem is the screen is so complex, there's so many fields showing, you're not really notified of much, so clicking through this is a pain. But I'm going to go ahead and create a work order just like an end user would. I'll just put some junk in here. Description, I'll choose an asset. How about Cal 1001? I'll set my work type to CM. And I have a bunch of fields. I don't know what I need to populate necessarily outside of the little asterisk displayed on the screen. I'll set my priority. I'm trying to look through here, try to find all my fields that I need to populate, things like that. But all these other fields just are, to a degree, they're distracting, especially when you're just trying to get your record entered. Set my scheduled start, 7/21. How about a week? And you know, I go through here. I'll add a labor record. Set my craft to, how about carpenter? And I know my data relatively well, so I don't have to use the value list for everything and things like that. Give it some hours. Save my record. I'm going to now take the action to choose an owner on the record. So I'm doing a lot of steps here, and there's a lot of clicking, a lot of searching on the screen, trying to find what I need to do. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to approve my work order. And again, I know the screen pretty well, so I'm navigating a little quickly. Front-end users who even are in here day to day sometimes they get lost on the screen. They haven't developed the screens. They just kind of get used to a routine. They sit there with their books in front of them, writing down or referencing their steps so they know what to do to enter this data. So what we do with Maximo Cyst is we make life a lot easier for those types of users. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to enable my page guide, and then I am going to walk through the same steps using this. And what this is going to do is really allow my users to enter the data quickly and efficiently without clicking around, without searching on the screens and things like that. I'm going to go back to work order tracking. One of the first things you're going to notice when I get back is I have a tooltip that pops up immediately on the right reminding me of this. That's because I've set a default on my page guide to default for the user I'm logged in as. So anytime user Wilson comes to work order tracking, if you want to set that up, this list will pop up for them to really make life easier. If this is a task that Wilson does every single time they're in the system, let's give them an opportunity to really help them enter that data and not skip or miss any steps. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to hover my mouse over this icon in my list here. And as you see, the insert button in the middle of the screen increases in size and puts a little note on there telling me to press insert. In fact, if I actually click on this, you'll notice it's selected in the center, so I can actually get by just hitting the space bar, normal HTML programming to get there. And now I can do the same thing. When I click on description, it's going to take me right to the field. I don't have to move my mouse. I don't have to tab through to try to find the fields. I click on description, it takes me there. I fill in my description, and I got that. And now same thing. I move a mouse. The next step is to populate the work type. So I click on that, and I put in a value. Really easy. I'll go ahead and keep following this, and I'll show you a little feature, an additional feature we have in this. So I'm going to populate my asset num. I've got one in mind. I'll fill that in. Scheduled start down here at the bottom. I click on it, puts my focus there. Again, making it a lot easier for me to use. What did I do? 7, 15. Oh, I skipped a field. Set priority lets me know. Fill that in. This is what happens if I don't follow my list. Next, I'll click on scheduled finish. Set my date, 7/21. I'll use this to remind me to click on the plans tab. You see, as I hover over it, it puts a little notification there for me. Click on the plans tab. Now it's reminding me to create a new labor row. So I click my button, create a new row. Just like I did before, creating craft, fill it out, populate regular fields. As I click there, it takes me there. Really setting the pace for me and making it easier. I can even do toolbar items. As I move my mouse over here, I set my owner to the record, or to the value, press spacebar, I choose my owner, and that value strikes out. So I have this list of events that are firing, and they are notifying me that they're complete. The last thing I'm going to do is approve the record.
I'm going to pause you there real quick. Can you go out of order with this list? You
can go out of order. Just like I did earlier, you saw that I populated scheduled start and scheduled finish before setting my priority. It's an option. Really, I mean, for data entry, you got to get your data in one way or another. Now, you can enforce rules to initiate data so that if you set your priority to 1, it might automatically set your work type for you with Rules Manager, its native functionality. And doing that, you can actually strike through multiple items while just populating one field at a time.
Excellent. Thank you.
No problem. Last step, I'm just going to approve the record. You'll notice that it strikes out. And that's it. So I just used a page guide to create and to do data entry. It made it really easy to walk through, as you can see, very simple to create and correctly populate data in the system. One of the things I mentioned, but I didn't end up showing because I didn't put my failure class on the list, is we have the ability also to show tooltips on fields. So in this case, I have a tooltip on my failure class field. I also have a tooltip on my scheduled start and scheduled finish fields that you may have seen earlier. But one of the nice features is you can even show more information if you want to. So if I click on Show More, I get a little more information on how this field is utilized. So in this case, if I had a new record, when this field is populated, the problem field becomes editable. So if I actually do this, set a value here. Let's see if I get any issues. See, the problem code field becomes editable. So just like you can also educate your users on how the system works using Maximo Cyst to create tooltips and to-do lists to populate your data and utilize all the functionality that's built into Maximo Cyst. So there's the front end of it. Now let me show you the nice part, how easy it is to create these things. We are leveraging our functionality inside of Rules Manager to do this. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create one from scratch on the SR application. And from there we'll see and we'll fill in data and we'll test it out for the front end. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to choose my app. We'll say that's SR. Let's do SR create. Pretty simple. So now what it's doing, it's reaching out to the server live, getting your presentation, and we are re-rendering it so that I can edit it here. This is the same type of functionality we leverage in our app developer and functionality inside of Rules Manager Studio, and additionally we leverage it for our focus order functionality inside of our original developer perspective. So first step we want to do when we're creating an SR is actually create it. So I right-clicked on my icon, and I get a message box here that says add a new to-do item. I click that, and I'm going to get a little pop-up here that says, you know, here's some information about this. In this case, we are performing the action, which is like clicking a button. Our app family is SR, and we're executing the insert, which is automatically populated when you fill in the when you choose your toolbar item. So I'm going to say press insert. This will be, as I fill in the description, this is the description of the task in your to-do item that is displayed in the to-do list. I'm going to press OK. Let's fill in some other fields here. Let's populate reported by. And I'm going to just click through a bunch of fields here on my SR and add on. How about reported? I'll put a tooltip on here. Reported. Oops. So this is the priority of the person that's calling in this issue. And let's put a to-do item here to let the user know to actually populate it. I'll just get rid of that. And similarly here, let's add a tooltip to internal priority, desk agent priority. So as the person enters it, they can make their own analysis and apply. You guys know what this field means. Apply their own priority to the record. I'm going to populate that and press OK. As you see, I get the feedback here. Blue dots represent a to-do item. That's why these blue dots were created. These orange dots represent tooltips. So it's really visually informative, our screen here. I'm just going to keep populating. How about service group? Populate service group. And creating this process is really just a matter of pointing and clicking and knowing a little bit of your data in the sense that you know what fields are required and what fields end users need to populate to have a complete SR as they enter their data. This is service on the field. Let's make sure they fill in those. Populate description. Now, one of the things as I'm entering this, you're noticing the dialog box here. You can put conditions on fields too. So in the case that you want to make sure your work type is EM or your reported by is not the same user that's entering the data or something like that, you can put a condition in here using our scripting language to validate whether an event should actually be stricken off or not. Excuse me, I'm not spelling right. Details. Let's just do another one. Let's fill in the site field here. And let's add another one. We'll Let's add a save. And lastly, let's put a to-do item on a select action. So we can do any of our actions. We get the list right from the system, and let's create a work order based on this. Here's one of the circumstances that I'm going to be applying a condition, and I'll explain why in a second. Create the work order. And now, so my condition is I have a relationship to my work order table that lets me know if there's a related work order to my SR. So I'm just going to leverage that. So SR.workorder 0. So if I have a record, that means this task is complete. If I have a record in my relationship, I'm going to press OK. I'm going to save it. If I chose to, I could set a default and value. I'm not going to worry about that right now. You saw how that worked. I'm going to commit my rule file, refresh the server, and now I'll just go to the browser and actually test it out. Oops, not work order tracking, excuse me. Service request. Let's run my action. Press insert just as I created them. See how simple it was? Oops, a couple of Smiths in the list. Populate reported by. And as you see, there's the tooltip I mentioned before. Populate internal priority. Populate service group. Service. As you can see, it's walking through everything, striking out. I'll show you the select action. That's the nice one. Populate details. Populate the site. Bedford. Like I said, I know my data, so I don't have to leverage value lists. Save you guys some time of me clicking around. Save my record. Press select action. Press create work order. I can actually just click on this if I want to. And you can see my work order 1712 is created and my action was stricken off. Really easy to do that. I created that in a matter of 2 minutes for your users, and the benefit that they'll get and the benefit your organization will get with better data entry, making sure all of your fields are populated. Some nice feedback on the screen that lets you know that something actually completed or something wasn't taken care of. Things like that to really make your end user's experience simpler, to a degree, a little more satisfying, because there's not much better in the data entry world than seeing your little checkoff list complete. And it's not just data entry people, but anyone using the system. So in the end, that's all the functionality built in right there, really easy at your fingertips, matter of pointing and clicking in our representation of your system. There's a bunch of other little nifty secrets that you can do in here that really can help explode the functionality and make your end user experience much better. Hopefully, I really went through that pretty fast. I understand. Hopefully, everything was presented clearly. If not, I'm here to take some questions.
Excellent. Thanks, Jordan. We've had a lot of questions that were texted, and I hope everyone can see the answers on their side. We'll put those together and send out a frequently asked questions as well. Now to open up the lines, and let me see if there's anyone who wants to ask a question directly. So again, if you guys see the raise your hand feature on your webinar panel, if you just click on that, I'll see your hand and give you, or call your name. And I think most of our questions came in by text. Oh, nope, we have one. So Virgil, I'm going to go ahead and open up your line.
Can you go from an asset application to a location application and work between the two with one list?
With one list, no. The way the lists are assigned to an app individually, you can have default show up in a certain circumstance. So you can have it show up under situation X, which may present a list when you are in another page, or when you switch between apps. But in the end, a page guide is assigned to one specific app.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
I'm going to scroll through the audience again, and let me see if there are other questions. Robert Ogden, you just need to enter in your PIN. I'm going to send that to you. It's pound 104 pound. And I'll open up your line. And while I do that, Ken has asked, can you launch workflow from this tool?
Yeah, if it's the exact same way, you have a toolbar item in your tooltip here, or you have a select action menu item, you can leverage those to tell it to start a workflow or to start a specific workflow if it's in a list of workflows in your action.
Excellent. And now I'm going to go ahead and call on you, Robert.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, Jordan, looks really good. This is kind of a second question to the last question before that the gentleman asked about going between applications. Could you possibly make this, I don't know if you have it this way already, is there any way to make these lists kind of conditional, like you would with a rule, for instance, to say if this condition exists, show this list, or if this condition exists, show this list? That way you could do something like throw a flag in a global library, use that flag to control which list is shown in the app based off of what happened in the other app.
Correct. Yes. Now, right now, you cannot do that, but that is something that we are that's being developed.
Okay. Cool.
So,
thank you.
So keep your eyes out for that.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
Great. And then, Jordan, can the health be toggled off if the user doesn't want to see it anymore?
Oh yeah. Here, you can just click X, closes it. There's actually, even if it's just in the way, you can minimize it, and it's down here in the bottom, and you can restore it from there. So you have a few ways to get that out of your way.
Excellent. And so this is a question more around our services. Will we assist with the initial rules during the rollout?
As part of ACSP, we do provide some hours of consulting, and so we could help anyone with that, utilizing those hours that are provided with our ACSP. Outside of that, there's a bunch of tools you can leverage our support forum. You can email support directly, and either of those things will get back to me because I'm on those email threads, and we'll get you a response if you need any help with that.
And we can always set up a service engagement.
Oh yeah.
And then does it work in all browsers?
Yep, I'm using Chrome right now, but it does work with Internet Explorer and Firefox as well. Someone's not muted.
He wants to just that.
Oh, I think one of our audience was unmuted. Go ahead, Jordan. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no. So yeah, we've got it working with all our browsers. There are some browsers that act a little bit funny, but in the end, like all the functionality's there. You'll just see sometimes if you resize your screen, you have to resize your tooltip. It doesn't do it automatically.
Cool. And then, Ken, I see your hand is up, so I'm going to go ahead and see if you have another question.
Yeah, my question is, I saw that you can define the to-do list by user. I'm assuming that you can do that by security group as well?
Correct. Yeah, I only mentioned users, but I have an option here with both. You can add defaults for groups or users. I was just using users. That's easy.
So what that would mean is, say I'm using your service request screen, I have 3 different groups or 3 different users. They all would get potentially different to-do lists?
Yeah, you could assign.
Okay.
Yeah, you could assign defaults to each one of those groups, and then those users would be presented with different data. Correct.
Yep. Okay. Good. Thank you.
No problem.
Great. So I'm going to do one more look for hands up. Again, just press that little hand icon on your webinar panel if you have a question. I'm doing a quick scroll, Jordan, and I don't see any others.
Well, if anyone does have any more questions, you can contact us either through Liz's email address or support@trmnet.com, and we can respond to any other questions from there. Outside of that, looking forward to seeing everyone start utilizing this stuff. And I appreciate everyone's time today.
Excellent. And then a real quick wrap-up, just to remind everyone who's a current customer, like Jordan said, the support forum is a great forum for you to get best practices, see release notes, all of that. We also offer basic or advanced training classes that you can get in touch with me, and we can set one of those up for you. And then for those of you who are interested in a one-on-one demo of the full suite of TRM Rules Manager, let me know, because this is only a taste of it, and we can set something up for you. And with that, I want to thank everyone for your time, and we will be sending out the recording to this presentation, so feel free to contact us and to share this with all of your colleagues. Thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon. Thanks, Jordan.
Thanks.